The man is in the house. And obviously, liberty is alive and well in Rhode Island tonight. He's been straight with the American people. In fact, he's one of the only politicians consistently straight with the American people. They call him the grandfather of fiscal responsibility. I call him the founder of political honesty. With great honor and great privilege that I first introduced Emmanuel Completo, who's the head of Youth for Ron Paul here in Rhode Island. I promise you he will bring Ron Paul to this stage to get you fired up. Thank you very much.
Good evening, everybody. I discovered that only one presidential candidate has any true respect for civil liberties, human freedom, or human life. I discovered that only one presidential candidate has demanded accountability from the Federal Reserve, which has destroyed our currency and has wreaked havoc on our economy while pointing the finger of blame at everyone except for itself. I discovered that only one presidential candidate has been brave enough to confront the special interests which profit by sending our families and our friends into war, and only that candidate can be trusted to bring our troops home. And today, as multitudes of young people like me and millions of others make these same discoveries, media outlets are declaring this presidential candidate's race to be finished. The fact is that this campaign, this revolution, is about to make history. Just in the past 5 days, we've discovered that this candidate, who supposedly is out of the race, won a majority of the state delegates from Colorado. He won more delegates than the supposed frontrunner in Minnesota, and he will win a plurality of delegates in many more states in the months to come as the real results are determined at the state conventions. He will bring hundreds of delegates to the August convention with full intention to make him the Republican nominee. So without further ado, please rise to your feet and give a roaring Rhode Island welcome to 12th-term Congressman and our next president, Dr. Ron Paul.
Sounds like the revolution is alive and well. And can you imagine, I imagine you're just so surprised, but the media says we've disappeared. I think they're not only going to hear from us tonight, they're going to hear from us for a long time to come. Revolution is not a one-day occurrence. A revolution takes time, and it will last a long time, and it will change a country, and that is what we're getting ready to do. We want to restore liberty to America. America one time was known for its liberty, but in the last 100 years we've drifted a long way, and now we're suffering the consequences. Even though many recognize this, even back in the progressive era with the Woodrow Wilsons and the other, and 1913, a bad year, 16th Amendment, and then the Federal Reserve Act. but we limped along for a long time because we were so wealthy and we had so many natural resources that we didn't kill the golden goose overnight. But I tell you what, the golden goose is on its last legs right now unless we do something about it. And that's why I think we're getting the enthusiasm, because there is something we can do about it. And it's not something brand new. How about just sending only people to Washington who read the Constitution, understood it, and obey the Constitution? Secret. In a free society, people have their privacy. But today, there's too much secrecy and we've lost too much of our privacy. And we could start, if we want more transparency, let's start with the Federal Reserve and find out who. This week there was a little bit of foreign policy going on. Our president was down in Colombia, in South America. I didn't know exactly what was going on, but I declined to have the Secret Service protect me. The National Security Agency now has just opened the construction of a new facility in Utah. It's the biggest in the history of the world. It's made out of all computers. It's supposed to be able to hold not billions of information on everything they can find. Emails, websites, telephone calls, mail, everything. And it literally holds trillions and trillions of dollars of items of information. And they're in the process of doing this. Why do they need to know so much about us? We need to know more about them. To be tough on the Cubans. I say, let's trade with Cuba, let's go to Cuba, let's travel to Cuba. Why don't then, that would undermine that system. When you trade and talk to people and travel, that is what undermines their government, not sanctions. We have 5% of the population of the world. We have 25% of the prisoners. Many of them, some estimate well over half, are nonviolent prisoners. So I would say that the American people aren't bad people compared to the rest of the world. I would say we have too many laws is the problem that we have. This very year on January 1st, there were 40,000 new laws passed on January 1st. So what I would like to suggest to you, as president, I would like to be the first president ever to repeal 40,000 laws. Of course, on some occasions we have to get the permission of the Congress, but those laws that were passed by executive order are all illegal. I don't believe in legislating through the executive order, but I do believe if they're illegal executive order, a president can repeal those executive orders. We have to get a president who will use the executive order to get rid of that type of order. One of the most important things that we get out of freedom is, our responsibility for ourselves. But freedom means you do make these choices for ourselves, but people are always hesitant. There's one group will say, well, that sounds good, but we can't trust people to spend their own money because they won't take care of themselves the way we think they should take care of themselves. So they embark on destroying the currency and bankrupting the country and taking away our liberties and accomplishing nothing else. So the group that believes that we have to have economic intervention has to accept the fact that people have a natural right to their liberties and their life and the fruits of their labor, and they ought to be able to spend the money as they darn well please.